The anniversary of Eid al-Ghadir and also the birthday of the 10th Imam, Imam Elahi alayhi salam. Let's start with congratulations on these happy occasions to all those who love justice and freedom, peace and human rights. This was the first Hajj and the last for the Holy Prophet, because he made the Hajj only once. He made a couple of Umrahs, but only one Hajj Tamattu. While he completed his Hajj with more than 100,000 Hujjaj from Medina and other places, returning back to Medina, arriving in the area that today there is Masjid al-Juhfa and called Ghadir Khum area, he received a heavy announcement. He was told by the angel of revelation that to complete your covenant with Allah, you must make this. Without this addition, your mission is not accomplished at all. It was hard for the Holy Prophet because of the cultural sensitivity in the community of the time to tell people that my successor is Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is his son-in-law, his cousin. But this is a commandment from the Creator. He had to say it. He had no choice. But of course the Prophet himself is concerned about the confusion and chaos that threats the Ummah and its future. And he knows that soon he is going to depart from this life. And the destiny of Ummah matters to the messenger. And he knows who else more qualified for this mission than Ali ibn Abi Talib. If you look at Nahj al-Balagha, and this is something that inshallah we are going to discuss this year on Sunday, focus on Nahj al-Balagha during the Sunday service from this Sunday. In Khutbatul Qasi'ah, Al-Qasi'ah is the longest khutbah in Nahj al-Balagha, number 192. That Imam Ali speaks about his relationship with the Holy Prophet. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمْتُمْ مَوْضِعِي مِنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ بِالْقَرَابَةِ الْقَرِيبَةِ وَالْمَنْزِلَةِ الْخَسِيسَةِ وَدَعَنِي فِي حِجْرِهِ وَأَنَا وَلَدٌ يَذُمُّنِي إِلَى صَدْرِهِ. You are aware of my close relationship with the Holy Prophet. The time that I was a child, he used to hug me and put me on his lap and showing maximum passion and love and taking care of me like his own son. لَقَدْ كُنْتُ أَتَّبِعُهُ اتِّبَاعَ الْفَصِيلِ أَثَرَ أُمِّهِ يرفع لي في كل يوم من أخلاقه علما ويأمرني بالاقتداء به. I used to follow the Prophet like a kid following his mom. He used to teach me a new lesson of morality and ethic every day. And he made sure that I would practice what he teaches me. ولم يجمع بيت واحد يومئذ في الإسلام غير رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وخديجة وأنا ثالثهما. At that time there was only one Muslim house in the area. A house that only 3 people used to live. The Prophet, his wife Khadija, and myself. أرى نور الوحي والرسالة وأشم ريح النبوة. I could see the light of revelation and religion. I could smell the perfume of prophethood. ولقد سمعت رنة الشيطان حتى حين نزل الوحي عليه فقلت يا رسول الله ما هذه الرنة؟ فقال هذا الشيطان قد أيس من عبادته. I was so close to the Holy Prophet that I could hear the groaning of someone while revelation was coming. And I'm asking the Holy Prophet, who is this and why? And he answered, this is Shaitan, this is Satan, is groaning because he is losing hope of losing his followers because of this revelation. ثم قال إنك تسمع ما أسمع وترى ما أرى إلا أنك لست بنبي ولكنك لوزير وإنك لعلى خير. Oh Ali, you can hear what I hear and you can see what I see. The only difference is that you are not a messenger of God. You are only a minister of his prophet. Ibn Abi al-Hadid, who is Sunni al-Mu'tazili, and he wrote a commentary on Nahj al-Balagha, a good one. In the introduction of this Sharh Nahj al-Balagha, he says, ما أقول في رجل سبق الناس إلى الهدى وآمن بالله وعبده وكل من في الأرض يعبد الحجر ويجحد الخالق لم يسبقه أحد إلى التوحيد إلا السابق إلى كل خير محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. He is saying, how can I describe the personality of a man who always was number 1 in guidance and in devotion, second only to the Holy Prophet. السابقون السابقون أولئك المقربون, the man who was ahead and the closest one to the final destination in the race of righteousness. Allama al-Amini قدس سره, he mentions more than 100 Sunni scholars who narrated this hadith from the Holy Prophet. أنا مدينة العلم وعلي بابه. He is the gate of knowledge and wisdom of the Holy Prophet. And one example of this knowledge is this. قال عبد الله بن عباس أخذ بيد علي في ليلة المقمرة فخرج وقال اقرأ يا عبد الله بي إلى البقيع بعد العشاء فقرأت بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فتكلم في أسرار إلى بزوغ الفجر. Ibn Abbas himself is a greatest حبر هذه الأمة, رباني هذه الأمة, is saying that Ali ibn Abi Talib told me that let's go out. It is a moonlight and full moon night, and let us walk a little bit. And we left the area and we were behind the Baqi area in Medina. Imam Ali asked me to recite something from the Quran for him. The moment I started saying Bismillah, Imam said, stop right away, stop there. فَتَكَلَّمَ فِي أَسْرَارِ الْبَا. Imam Ali started speaking about the secrets and the tafsir of the ba of Bismillah إِلَى بُزُوغِ الْفَجْرِ. And it was the Isha's time, after Salat al-Isha. If it was maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever, at that time, till like Tulu' al-Fajr, the dawn, maybe 7-8 hours, he was speaking about the bay of Bismillah. ثم قال قم يا ابن عباس إلى منزلك فتأهب لفرضك. Looks like now is time for Salatul Fajr. Ibn Abbas, go home and make wudu and get ready for Salatul Fajr. Ibn Abbas is saying, I left وقد وعيت ما قال ثم تفكرت. I left Imam Ali, but I'm reflecting and I'm thinking. فإذا علمي بالقرآن وعلم أصحاب محمد صلى الله عليه وآله في علم علي ليس إلا كالقرارة في المشأنجر. I realized after listening to Ali that my knowledge and knowledge of all the companions of the Prophet all together compared to knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen is just like a drop of water compared to an entire water of an ocean. This is the knowledge of Ali. And we don't have time to go through the other example of Ali ibn Abi Talib, faith and his knowledge. What about his courage? What about his love? What about his sacrifice? What about his volunteer hard work? What about his piety? What about his prayer and moral principle? How can we talk about all dimensions of personality of this great man in such a day like Ghadir Khum? أخذ بيد علي فرفعها. The Holy Prophet held the hand of Ali and he raised his hand. أيها الناس من كنت مولاه فهذا علي مولاه. I am talking about this Ali ibn Abi Talib. If you accepted my leadership, then this is your leader. This is my successor. Allahumma inni ushhiduka anni qad ballaghtu. Allah, be my witness that I said what you told me. وَسَأَلَ النَّاسَ أَن يُبَلِّغَ الْحَاذِرُ الْغَائِبَ. And he said, please let everybody know. Let everybody understand this message. Not long after that, this verse was revealed. الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. The day of Ghadir Khum is the day of completion of covenant between the Creator and creation. It is a day of a ni'mah, the day of gift. God gave you a gift. أَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي. And it is a day of pleasure of Allah. This wilayah was a prize out of His pleasure that He chose Islam as your religion. Allah yarhamhu al-Allama al-Amini, who has spent 40 years of his blessing life, and he wrote Al-Ghadir for 14 volumes, all focusing on one hadith on Ghadir Khum. 40 years working on this statement. إني تارك فيكم الثقلين كتاب الله وعترتي. Unfortunately, Muslims, they ignored this. Allama Amini mentioned more than 200 Sunni sources that all of them say Kitab Allah wa Itrati, not Kitab Allah wa Sunnati. More than 200 scholarly Sunni books and sources that they mention this hadith that the Holy Prophet said Kitab Allah wa Itrati. The Quran is the message. The Ahl Bayt, the role model. The Prophet was concerned that this mission might be ignored. This is why even at the time of his death, said, bring me a pen and some paper so I would write something and clarify it 100% so there is no confusion after my death. One of the famous companions, he said, the Prophet is under pain and so much pressure, he is not in a normal situation. I don't want to say what he said because that was very rude. And there was so much argument whether bring pen and paper or not to bring. The Prophet said, forget about that, forget about that. He got so upset and his heart was hurt. Because that companion said, well, we have Quran, why we need for him to write anything extra? Everything is clear. Hasbuna Kitab Allah. Well, if Hasbuna Kitab Allah, then we have to mention Kitab Allah. I heard one of the big Sunni scholars say, I don't want to be called Sunni, I want to be called Muslim. Because if I'm Sunni, Sunni means just the Sunnah, means the Hadith. What about Quran? That means that I follow just the Sunnah, I don't follow the Quran. So if I'm saying that I'm just Sunni, so I'm kind of ignoring the Quran. Another Thiql al-Akbar. So just call me Muslim. And that was the beginning of a tragedy. 25 years Amir al-Mu'mineen, he speaks with his silence out of his care for the unity of the Ummah. And when finally the Muslims, they rushed after 25 years asking him to take the responsibility, Imam was very reluctant because he realized that they would resist towards any real reforms. There is a need for deep reformation and renovation of everything in the Muslim society. And the moment that he started the reform, they are going to resist. He knew that. For that reason, he was not happy to take the responsibility. But again, this is Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is not looking for comfort. He is looking for responsibility. He accepted, but he said, I'm telling you now that whatever I preach and whatever I promise, I'm going to perform it. I'm going to practice it. Be ready for that. He stood for justice. He stood for truth. He stood for human rights. But look at what he said in Nahj al-Balagha. دعوت الناس على بيعتي فمن بايع طوعا قبلته ومن أبى عن بيعتي لم أكره وتركته. I'm not going to force anybody to pledge allegiance to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Although he knows that he is the truthful leader and imam of the community, he said, no, I'm not going to force anybody to do the bay'ah with Ali ibn Abi Talib. And when those ignorant, jahili, extremist Khawarij They start their opposition. They come to the masjid. They don't participate in the jama'ah. They stand there while Imam Ali is leading the prayer. They interrupt the salah. They say, Al-hukmu lillah, la laka, ya Ali. Imam, he goes on the minbar, he is speaking. They start the sha'arat from here and there, and they try to stop Amir al-Mu'mineen, and he acts with politeness and with patience. And he is telling them, I'm not going to prevent you from coming to the mosque. And I'm not going to deprive you from Bayt al-Mal. And I'm not going to force you to make a bid'ah and bay'ah. I'm not going to force you to make bay'ah with me. As long as you are not using force and you are not fighting, you are free and you have the freedom of expression. Even if you come to the mosque and try to stop my salat and my lecture. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba al-Hasan, ya Imam al-Ahrar, ya Imam al-Muttaqeen. How proud are we, brothers and sisters, as lovers of Amir al-Mu'mineen, that in 21st century, when Kofi Annan was the Secretary General of United Nations, go online and check what he said, Kofi Annan, years ago, when he said that Ali ibn Abi Talib was the fairest governor in human history. He wrote this and he signed it. He said, we advise Arab countries to take Imam Ali as an example in establishment of a regime based on justice, democracy, and knowledge. This is the acknowledgement, Secretary General of United Nations, 21st century, 1500 years almost after the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is al-Imamah. This is al-Khilafat al-Islamiyah. This is the real Islamic state of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Compare it with this fake al-Khilafat al-Islamiyah, al-Khiyanat al-Islamiyah in reality. The Daesh death, destruction, and damage policy. No, this is not an Islamic state. This is a movement of monster, motivated by ignorance and extremism, by greed and temptation, by desire for power and domination, brothers and sisters. And it's sad that our Muslim Ummah are facing this satanic scenario of ISIS. And it's sad that we as Muslim community on other continent have to suffer from Islamophobia of what ISIS is doing. It is a very serious matter. Unfortunately, 60 countries that completed the coalition, since the intention was not 100% there, instead of killing the forces of evil and stop them from their genocide and massacre, they just threw some bombs on Syrian oil refinery. And now these forces of evil are advancing in Buchanan, in Anbar, in other areas. And all of this excitement and news and propaganda all of a sudden stopped. And we don't hear too much about that. This is a serious matter. At least as Muslim community, we have to send this message to everyone. This is what we do at the House of Wisdom. I was in this Stanford College just a few days ago, hundreds of professors and students talking about ISIS. We had like 40 students from many different American universities here just a couple of days ago. We sat down and had a discussion for more than 2 hours talking about these issues. We had a meeting of almost 200 from our neighborhood, this area, who met at the House of Wisdom last night, and I joined them and spoke about that. So let the whole world know that the voice of Muslim community is very clear. تبا للتكفير وتبا للتطرف وتبا للتفجير وتبا للعنف والإرهاب وتبا للجماعات الإرهابية والتقتيلية. May God perish and punish these hands of evil and crime against our faith. I said to the college gathering that the first victim of ISIS is Islam. The first victims are Muslims themselves. And brothers and sisters, this is duty of not only the mashayikh and few community actives, but all of us to take this matter of Islamophobia and the matter of ISIS very seriously. We have recently formed a council, advisory council meeting at the House of Wisdom. The next meeting is a monthly gathering, is next Wednesday at 5:30. If some of you feel that you can be part of an intellectual discussion and public discussion about the threats for our community, for our youth, for our families, please let me know, let us know, and participate and be part of this gathering, that inshallah we are trying to turn it to a unifying force in this community, and not just meet at the House of Wisdom, sometimes meet in some other masjid and other centers to get our community united against the threats that we are facing. So make sure that you are part of this, and make sure that we all, and especially our youth, participate in these activities. The minimum thing is to participate in Salatul Jum'ah. One of the brothers reminded me yesterday of Nawafil Yawm al-Jum'ah. You know, on Yawm al-Jum'ah we have like 20 rak'ats just for Dhuhr and as mustahabbat. Like 8 rak'at for Salatul Dhuhr and 8 rak'at for Salatul Asr and 4 rak'at for Yawm al-Jum'ah. Altogether 20 rak'at. That is mustahab to do this 20 rak'at before Salatul Jum'ah. So if you make it a few minutes before Salat and practice these 20 rak'ats and listen to the dua and the Quran with the beautiful voices of our brothers that they are doing it before Salatul Jum'ah. We need to take Salatul Jum'ah seriously. We take the Salat in general, inna salata tanha anil fasha wal munkar, because if our young generation come to the prayer, then this generation is not going to go towards alcohol and drugs. So when they come to the masjid, they save their life from jail. They don't have to get drunk and have accident and go to hospital, and from hospital to prison and get depressed and destroy their life, because the prayer can save them. Islam can save them. I like to say welcome to the brothers and sisters that I see some faces back from Hajj. Hajjukum maqbool wa sa'ikum mashkoor wa dhanbukum maghfoor. Inshallah, welcome back home and welcome back to Salat al-Jum'ah. Inna salati wa nusuki wa mahyaya wa mamati lillahi rabbil alameen. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar fasalli li rabbika wanhar. إن شانئك هو الأبتر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. وإلى الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر.